Day 564, 22 for 22. Good morning. Hope this finds you well. Please stay in your fight and do not quit. All right, so today is Red Friday. We have people everywhere. We have them in Asia, Europe, Africa. We also have a face-off going in the Persian Gulf against Iran at the moment. Troops in Syria, Iraq, Israel, Navy controlling the sea lanes. It's a busy time, and it's not always safe. So if you pray, please say a prayer. If you don't, do what you do. All right, so yesterday I talked about World War II. I'm going to talk about D-Day in particular. Now I'm going to talk about World War II to the present. Approximately 20 million Americans served during World War II. There is PTSD among them as well. There are reports that as our greatest generation gets older, based more towards the 2000s, the year 2000s, that they were starting to commit suicide in greater numbers than they had ever during their time from World War II to present. And there's a couple ideas on why. And it equates to what's going on now. Our guys in World War II had a chance to decompress on the way home. The magic carpet rides took a few days. They went home as units, kind of like we do still to this day, but with air travel being the primary component of our way home, it's a shorter period of time. There's not a lot of time to decompress. You're on a plane for maybe 18 hours at most, and then you're home. And then you have a month's leave, and you go back to your training cycle, preparing for the next deployment or preparing for the next mission, whatever it may be. Now, with World War II, a lot of these guys ended up decompressing on the way home and then processing out in many cases if they chose to get out. Now, after this, they threw themselves into their lives largely. They stayed busy. They started companies. They went to work for small companies. They went to work with brothers that they served with. You know, runs the gamut just like today. Now, as these veterans, our greatest generation, retired, they had more free time on their hands, more time to think, more time to reflect on what's going on upstairs and what they saw in the war. It's kind of the same now because the job market is not what it was in World War II. We were 60% of the world's economy back then, so the economy was pretty much booming. They also came from a different time. If you were born in 1919, you remember the Depression. If you were born in 1914, you definitely remember the Depression. You know, as you get older, you don't. As far as like younger. If you were born in, say, 1930, you remember the tail end of it. And we're too young for World War II. So these guys that served during World War II had already faced a ton of adversity. They had gone through the Depression with their family, as a member of a family or as the head of a family, and had learned how to deal with harder stuff than what we've had to really work with now. The Great Depression was a big deal. There's a lot of nothing. Whereas when our economy tanks, it's the stock market, our retirement goes away, jobs go away, but then you can find it's been easier to find work compared to when it was in the Depression. We've learned our lessons. But the thing is that gives our veterans that are getting out now, that do not get into a job, do not do this, do not do that, can't stay as active up here and get and keep the wolf that's hunting in their brain at bay. That being said, that is going to be the key. You gotta stay busy. I don't know many veterans or active duty that are just flat out lazy. Minnie dropped on the floor there, Bear, or on the ground. Hey. I know. Okay, well. Great sidebar, huh? The staying busy is a big part of it, and purpose. I've talked about that a ton. We served and we did our jobs, whether it was combat or not. And when we get out, that purpose kind of disappears because it's hard to match, largely, hard to match what the military means as far as the purpose goes. You wake up every morning knowing what the heck you're going to do, and you know what it means. When we get out, working at Safeway or Costco and a lot of these other jobs just doesn't fill that void. So, and then you have those that can't work. They're disabled, or they're disabled and cannot work, or disabled and choose not to work. But the idle mind is a place for terrible things to happen. Substance abuse can seriously compromise your thinking ability and really mess your chances up of being successful. And I'm not saying drinking or smoking weed or whatever is necessarily substance abuse. What I'm talking about is abusing alcohol, abusing your prescription drugs, abusing illegal drugs, that sort of thing. That sets you down a bad road. I guess what I'm trying to do is explain some of the mechanics here and the differences. Stop slapping each other. Oy. It's a tough subject because every person is an individual. So the different problems afflict different people differently, or other people, each individual differently. And you can't pinpoint a reason why somebody sits on the edge of that cliff looking into the abyss, thinking it looks beautiful, and jumps. But what we can do is keep fighting for our sanity and find things to productively engage ourselves and get our minds off of what's going on now, and deal with it. And that's the biggest thing. Is I didn't deal with my own issues, non-combat related, that bit me in the ass, and honestly, it was kind of pushed in the wrong direction, and that was a weakness on my part that I was able to correct with help. Now, that's what I'm trying to do here, is give people course corrections to make sure that they stay here and that they have the intestinal fortitude to keep going. It is no joke. Suicide is real. Veteran suicide is real. We have 20 to 22 veterans a day offing themselves. That's unacceptable. I think it's time for some push-ups. That's it. I'm going to stop right there because I'll talk forever. You guys going to do some push-ups?
If Papa doesn't block me anymore.
All right.
I'll take in the middle.
You right here, Mary. You right here, Barbara. Come on, you gotta hurry.
Can someone put Minnie on my back?
No, get down and do push-ups. You can do some one arms, Mary. And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't see a lot of push-ups. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 1 for the airborne ranger in the sky. 1 for the infantry. 1 for the fallen. You kind of missed the push-ups there, kid. You got the front leaning, lay down and go to sleep position. Just got nailed by Minnie. All right, so if you need help, seek help. Get it from friends, family, professionals. There's no shame at all in getting help. Do what you need to do to be here. I forgot the selfish plug. I'll put it off. Don't need it today, I guess. Bottom line is, please do not use suicide as a permanent solution to a temporary or permanent problem. You got this. We'll see you here Monday. And ready? You gonna say goodbye?
Yeah.
All right, you guys got to be on the same side. 1, 2, 3. Tough out.